Good morning. Today I will be speaking to you about the Technical Assistance and Research for Indian Nutrition and Agriculture, also known as the TARINA program, led by the Tata Cornell Institute of Agriculture and Nutrition at Cornell University. TARINA aims to promote diversified food systems for improved nutritional outcomes. This is relevant in context of changing cropping system diversity, where we find that particularly in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, net area under pulses has gone down and large areas have shifted to rice or rice wheat systems. At the same time, in the eastern parts of the Indo-Gangetic Plain, states have lower incomes, the diversity in diets is lagging, and persistently high levels of malnutrition are seen in women and children. Tarina's approach is one that brings together field-level interventions, research, capacity building, and policy advocacy to create a more nutrition-sensitive food system in India. We work in three states in India: Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and Orissa, and across 4 districts in total. And we are working with BIOF in Munger in Bihar, and with CARE India in the districts of Kandhamal and Kalahandi in Orissa, and GDS in Maharajganj district in Uttar Pradesh. TCI is also partnering with IFPRI, Emory University, and Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Fieldwork related to TARINA interventions is being carried out in over 150 villages in our program locations. The conceptual framework that underlies TARINA's food systems approach is one that looks at factors that influence household food access and factors that influence individual nutrition. And these two come together to influence the eventual nutritional outcomes at the individual level. So at the household level, we are looking at the income pathway and a food diversity pathway. And at the individual level, we look at the intra-household allocation pathway and the sanitation pathway. And in subsequent slides, I will talk about how each of our interventions fit into these pathways and what our research shows are the relationships between these interventions and dietary diversity particularly. TARINA started out with a food systems diagnostic study in 2016. In 2017, we did a baseline survey. In 2017 and 18, there were a lot of interventions and also a market diversity study. Last year, we wrapped up a midline survey, and this year we have planned for an endline survey. Across all of these field activities, we have tried to adapt and use nutrition sensitive. For the income pathway, we have introduced non-staples like pulses, oilseeds, and vegetables in all locations. In particular locations like UP, we have also introduced the orange fresh sweet potato to address vitamin A deficiency. And in addition to crop diversification, we are also looking at improving small ruminants and poultry systems through improved access to healthcare and improved breeds. In terms of metrics, we have adapted production diversity metrics in ways that they can reflect the nutrient composition of cereal-based systems better, and also market diversity measures that I will talk about later in the presentation. Our results and our research indicate that households that are growing pulses or households that own livestock are households where women have significantly higher dietary diversity scores. The food diversity pathway seeks to ensure that households have access to nutrient diverse foods throughout the year. For this, we are promoting kitchen gardens to reduce seasonal food deficits, and that is supported by a package of practices as well as BCC trainings. We have also looked at the market side of food diversity by looking at a market diversity study that looks at the availability of different foods over a period of 12 months in the local weekly village markets. Using the same data, combining availability of foods with food prices, we have also estimated cost of current diets and compared those to recommended diets. Our research indicates that participation in kitchen gardens and participation in BCC over time has led to an improvement in dietary diversity scores for women and their households. The intra-household food allocation pathway is addressed by SAGs and collectivization of women. We have tried to ensure that women are able to access agricultural services and labor-saving technologies and leadership roles. We have also worked with the Women's Empowerment and Agriculture Index, having adapted it specifically to the context of our program locations. We find that lack of SAG membership, control over income, and lack of land ownership are key constraints for women's empowerment in agriculture. Women are also facing a significant dietary gap if you look at their dietary diversity and compare it to the households. And this is particularly for non-staple food groups like meat, dairy, green leafy vegetables, and vitamin A-rich fruits and vegetables. Women's empowerment, literacy, nutrition awareness, and participation in BCC trainings are all significantly associated with higher dietary diversity scores for themselves and for their households. The sanitation pathway is being addressed through BCCs that are being layered on various SHGs. In Uttar Pradesh, we also have a community-led total sanitation approach to address open defecation, and that was supported by infrastructure and BCC trainings. We're also looking at food safety to reduce post-harvest loss of nutrients through mycotoxin management of food grains. That is through a participatory research framework. And again, we find that nutrition awareness that women have, including that of wash factors, are significant determinants of dietary diversity. Tarina is also accounting for the role that markets play in providing diverse, nutritious foods to smallholder farmers throughout the year. For this, we did a monthly mapping of food group diversity and prices in weekly markets. We have also estimated the cost of diets, and our estimates indicate that households are spending anywhere on average $1 per person per day on foods purchased from markets. This is less than what would be required to meet global dietary recommendations like those set forward by the Eat Lancet Commission. The cost of the Eat Lancet diet falls anywhere between $3 to $5 per person per day. And this gap is primarily centered around non-staple food groups like meats, dairy, and fruits. We've also analyzed food group prices following the COVID-19 pandemic, and we find that there are significantly higher prices for pulses and poultry. And comparing household food security during the pandemic, in May of 2022, data that we have on household food security from a year before that, we are able to identify a worsening food security for a lot of the households in these locations. Again, household purchases of non-staples and expenditure on non-staples are significantly associated with higher dietary diversity scores for women and their households. Our key takeaways from the Tarina program have been one, that the agricultural policy needs to move away from its focus on staple grains like rice and wheat and provide a level playing field so that there are adequate incentives in place for farmers to diversify away from these crops. Farmers are willing to diversify, however, they also need to be supported by inputs like quality seeds, technology transfer, irrigation, crop insurance, and so on. Markets are also an important aspect of the diversification of food systems. Smallholders need to be linked to markets through various kinds of aggregation models like FPOs or cooperatives. Markets also need to be strengthened in terms of private investment and infrastructure, for transportation, for roads, for storage facilities, and so on. Women's institutions can also play an important role, and overall there also needs to be efforts to ensure the sustainability of the changes in these aspects of the food system. Thank you.